Alright, welcome back. It's Mr. Charles here once more, coming to you with the magic called Scratch. And really, it's not magic if you consider the fact that there are principles and ways we have to go about these things. Yes, there are ways, and the ways are so simple to learn. Okay, that's the reason for these videos I've put up for you, showing you how to go about the art of coding. Okay, really, most people have said it's an art and some argue it's a science. Well, I don't know which one you think is right, but whichever it is, it's an art to me. So we've been exploring more building blocks in coding, and we've been doing this by building a game. Yes, most of the ways, exciting ways we could teach children coding, and anybody who might be interested in learning coding, is by building games. You know, something that brings some excitement to them. Alright, now the advantage is they're not just playing those games, they are creating their own games. So they're creating something out of nothing. Alright, so it's something they can own and say, oh, I did that, and look at how great it is. Alright, and that excitement can drive them on to learn so many new things. For instance, what we've been learning so far about events and repetition blocks. Okay, so far we've seen the when green flag clicked, and we found this block under the events category. Okay, and now that events, what really is an event? An event is some code that would only get executed or get run when something happens from the user usually. So for instance, the user may click something, or the user may roll something, or the user may even tap the screen. Yes, it might just be a screen tap for a computer that supports screen touch. Okay, now either ways, the user has to initiate an event. It doesn't just happen by itself. Okay, so that's the same reason why your code doesn't just start executing, or things don't start moving until you click that green flag, either this one or the one right here. Okay, now so far so good. We've been able to add sounds to this project. We've been able to specify that the bubble sound should always play, and then the star should glide over in 1 second to any position. And guess what? We put it in a forever loop. Why? We wanted it to keep going on and on and on and on till the game is over. Okay, so let's see what we can do with our game so far. Okay, so can you see our star is moving by itself? What is simply getting executed is the blocks here. Alright, so you can see Scratch put a yellow border around, like a glow around the blocks that are executing. Alright, so right now our star is gliding to different positions, and if you look very well, you can see the values on the screen are updating, showing the positions that it's gliding to per time. I think that's a really cool feature of Scratch, and I think it can only get better. Alright, now let's take a look at our octopus, our great octopus. Our octopus here we want our octopus to be under our control. Okay, so we created some new set of events by dragging and dropping blocks from the event section. Okay, and you see those blocks were actually hiding under the when space key pressed. Remember, an event only happens when the user does something on the computer. In this case, when the up arrow, we specify the up arrow by clicking on the little arrow triangle beside beside the caption on the block there. And when we clicked on it, we saw some other options, and we specified up arrow. We said it should change the y coordinates by 10, and Scratch understands that to be an addition. Okay, so change it upwards. Alright, and remember, the y coordinate goes this way, it goes vertically upwards. So if you want our octopus to go up, it changes y by 10. If you want your octopus to go down, it changes y by minus 10, and Scratch understands that to be a reduction. Alright, and the same thing happens for the horizontal axis, the x-axis, and the x-axis gets changed by 10 if we want to move our octopus to the right hand side, and it gets changed by minus 10 when we're moving our octopus to the left hand side. Alright, so let's see our octopus in action. Okay, right now I'm pressing the up key. Okay, so you can see when up arrow key pressed is changing, and when you press down the right arrow key, it gets changed. I'm pressing the left arrow key right now. Okay, so I'm really trying to catch up. Oh yeah, I caught up with my star, but guess what? Nothing is happening. Yeah, the star got into my path a couple of times. It's supposed to, like, okay, all right. So the star has I've been touching the star, but nothing's been happening. So our game is not complete yet. Let's finish up our game. Thank you so much, Scratch. You've been such a darling. Now we're going to write some code. We're going to drop some blocks actually for our octopus sprite. Alright, now what would we like to achieve? If you remember, when we started off this project, we wanted to achieve a couple of things, and one of those things was we wanted our score to be increasing each time the octopus hits the star or touches the star. Okay, so let's quickly add that code. Now that code will be a conditional code. That means that code only happens if the octopus touches the star. So we're going to need an if block for that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is to have the when flag clicked, because this is going to start happening right from the beginning of the game. So we don't want it to only happen when the up arrow is clicked or the right arrow or whatever arrow is clicked. We want it to happen right from the top of our game. So we'll have the when green arrow, green flag is clicked, and you know what next happens, because it's going to happen all through the game. The forever loop. Yes, you got it right. Next, we're going to have the if block. Okay, now let's not forget, we need to always start our score from 0. Okay, or else we would always would have our score going all the way to the end, and it doesn't come back to 0 at the beginning of the game. So we'll go under the variables and we'll say set score to 0. Now take note, that should only happen once. Alright, so I didn't put it inside the forever loop. Alright, or else our score will always be 0. Now the next thing I'll need to do is to add some other blocks, and we'll do that in the next video. Join me.